everyone, Tina here. I hope you're having a lovely day. I'm so glad you're joining me while we're making another 5 Easy Step Christmas card. This time we're using this is the cling stamp. It's called Scribbly Christmas. Tim Holtz designed this. Tim Holtz and Stampers Anonymous. And the great thing is the Simon Says Stamp has a brand new die set that will cut these images out. So we're going to be stamping and cutting, and we're going to jump in with step number 1, and we're going to create our focal point. Red rubber stamps stamp so beautifully, and I was really loving this tree. I like this tree. Most of the Christmas trees in here are what I like to call stamp and goes, but there's 2 of them that you can color in. So I'm going to take this one and this one, and we're just going to color them in. I wanted to add a little gold to my card today, so we're going to be heat embossing first. So I have some white cardstock, and we're just going to go over it with my anti-static powder. And then using an acrylic block, we're going to stamp both Christmas trees. This Christmas tree here has ornaments, and then it also has the star. I'm going to stamp that one once. And then this Christmas tree here, isn't it nice that they're indexed in the back? This Christmas tree here, I'm going to stamp twice. Okay. I'm going to bring in some gold embossing powder. And we'll just go over our images. And then I will use my heat gun and I will melt these. Now we're going to color in our trees, and I have a trio of Copic markers. This one is YR20, YR23, YR27, and we're just going to add a little color. This is going to be an orangey yellow tree, and it takes no time at all. The thing with these little scribbly trees is your coloring doesn't have to be perfect. Add the darkest color first, and then we'll add the mid-tone. And then we'll just go over it with the lightest, filling in all those open areas. And that's all there is to that tree. I guess I could zoom in a little bit here. For this tree, I'm going to use a trio of greens, G40, G43, and G46, and I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to try to go over. I'm not worried about the ornaments that are on this tree because we're going to cover those up with some gems. For this tree, we're going to bring in some teals. I have BG 72, 75, and 78. Took no time at all. We're going to go ahead and take the coordinating dies, and we will cut out each of these. While I was die cutting, I also die cut out some foam to put behind these Christmas trees. So let's go ahead and layer these all together for a little added dimension. I'm going to use my acrylic blocks to help weigh down the cardstock on the foam, and those will be my focal image. Let's move along to step number 2, and for that we are going to create our home panel. For my home panel today, I have a panel of Neenah Desert Storm cardstock. Any kind of craft cardstock that you have would work. And this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. So I'm going to bring in my A2 Arch die set, and we're going to create an arch in here. We can save this for another day, but we are going to use this piece on our card today. And we are going to do a little bit of stenciling with a brick stencil from Tim Holtz. This one is called the bricked layering stencil. I'm going to start by taking some ink. This is Vintage Photo, and I'm going to go around the perimeter on the inside of this window. You don't need very much because we're going to go over this with some texture paste, and it's basically just going to color the texture paste. That's all there is to this. Okay, now I'm going to take my stencil. We're going to take our texture paste. This is Ranger's texture paste in opaque matte, so it's gonna go on white. But whenever you add oxide inks to this, the texture paste will pick up some color. Now I'm going to hit and miss on some of these areas. I want a messy brick style. We're going to go a lot of texture in this background here. This is always so fun to do. It's like frosting. Okay, so that's this side. You can see I hit and missed it. I'm going to pick up the stencil and we'll do the same thing on this side. Just kind of hit and missing. And I do like to go over the edge of the arch. It just makes the arch stand out really nicely. Maybe a little more over here. Wonderful. Okay, now while this is still wet, I made a card earlier using some mica flakes inside a shaker. I thought we'd bring a little snow to the outside of this. So before our texture paste dries all the way, we're going to bring in some distressed mica flakes. And all I'm going to do is pick up some mica flakes. We're going to put it on the brick and do a little pressing. This is going to be the most texture I've had on a card in a while. But I think it looks like snow. And I'm just going to press it in. If you don't have mica flakes, I think if you used glitter, you could do the same thing. Maybe some clear glitter would be nice, but these are nice and chunky. Or you could also use the Stampendous shaved ice. That would be pretty too. It'll give it more of an iridescence look. And I think that is wonderful. Okay. Just tap off the excess. And so now we have a snowy background, and it's really not too bulky. Maybe that side is. If you need to press it in there, you can do that. But really, it's not too bulky at all. I'm going to set this to the side, clean up my work surface, and then we're going to continue on with step number 3, and we'll create our greeting. I'm bringing back the stamp set, and I think we're just going to go simple with Merry Christmas. There's 2 different kind of fonts on here, which are amazing. But we're just going to go basic with Merry Christmas. And I think we're going to heat emboss this with some gold embossing powder. I'm going to stamp Merry Christmas. And then with the same gold embossing powder, we will just go over this. And then I will use my heat gun and we'll melt it. I'm going to take the coordinating die, we'll line it up, and I will die cut this out. And I'm also going to die cut out a piece of foam too. This way I can have a little dimension with my greeting also. And there's my greeting. We'll put this with the Christmas trees, kind of weigh it down a little bit. And now we're going to work on step number 4, which is creating our background. Now my background is actually going to go behind my home panel. And what we're going to do is create some snowbanks first. Okay, this snowbank is going to go behind my archway. This is going to be a nice landing area for my, for my greeting. So I'm just going to add a little glue here. And then I can tack this down. It's still drying. It's not all the way dried yet. Okay, and then so we have one snowbank on here, but for this snowbank, I'm going to trim a little bit off here. And I'm going to position it where I want it to go, and I think that's a good spot. And what I'm going to do is flip it over, and I'll add some glue. Okay. And then this is my card base. I'm going to go ahead and flip this over, and I'm going to line up my archway with my card base, and then I will give it a good press. So now this snowbank is perfectly positioned for my background on my card base. Okay, I do want a little bit of blue in my background, so I'm going to bring in some Distress Oxide ink. This is tumbled glass, and I'm just going to add a light blue. Okay, now I'm going to now we're going to add a little bit of splatter, a little snowfall in the background. So I'm going to bring in my splatter box. I'm using my Simon Says Stamp Positively Perfect Splatter Medium. Shake it up really good. And then we are going to just dip our brush in here, and we're going to add some snowfall. I'm just going to concentrate on that tumbled glass area kind of heavily, and I will let that dry. And you know, while we're at it, let's do a little splattering on our home panel too. We'll add, oh, that was a lot. There we go. Let's add some snowfall to our brick too. Okay. Our background is done with snowfall. So is our home panel. So all of our steps are done. I just need to wait until this dries. I may speed up the process with my heat gun, but I'm not sure if I can do that with the mica flakes. But I'm going to try, just so we can move along. So these are nice and dried. My background's done. Now we're going to assemble everything, and I did put foam tape behind my home panel. So what we're going to do is just remove the release paper, and I did heat this with my heat gun to help the drying process from the splatter. And I want to mention that it didn't do, the mica flakes weren't affected by it. I thought maybe they would melt, but they didn't. It just warped my paper a little bit, you can see here, but worked great. Again, we have the Christmas tree with the star and the ornaments, and then we have the 2 Christmas trees that we don't have the star with. So I think I want this one a little bit higher than this one. Okay, and then with this Christmas tree, I'm going to just layer it right over the top, kind of landing it on that first snowbank. There we go. And then we can add our greeting. Again, the first snowbank is a great place to land our greeting here. Okay, now we're going to move along to step number 5, and we're going to add some bells and whistles. So it's time to embellish. And I mentioned we're going to color in those ornaments that are on here. And I'm going to be using some of my Spellbinders Color Essential Gems. I'm going to use the 2 smallest. Let's do that. And we will add a little bit of sparkle to the first Christmas tree only. Wonderful. Okay, and then now I'm also going to bring in some twine. I have some gold twine. This one is from Spellbinders. It's actually, I know Simon has this in the shop, but it's from Vivant, and it is cording. And I'm going to tie a double bow with this. The ends of the Vivant ribbon do fray a little bit. For this card, I don't mind, but if you don't like the fraying on the end, what you can do is just add a little glue at the very end. It'll prevent it from fraying. Okay, I'm going to bring in a glue dot, like so, and then I'm going to put a little gem in the center of that bow using the Crystal Mix gems from Spellbinders. Let's add just a little gem here. I think that looks really pretty. And that will finish off my card today, filled with texture and shine. Love the way that turned out. I thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for sticking with me to the end. I have 2 more videos that you guys might be interested here. If you guys are new and like the content that you see, click that subscribe button and also the notification bell. That way for future videos, be notified. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It sure does help the channel. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.